Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to do a fairly simple knot. This is called a bowline on a bight, and if you can tie a regular bowline, then this is pretty easy. It's pretty intuitive, okay? But the purpose of a bowline on a bight is to create two separate equal loops, fixed loops, okay? So how do we do that? So you're going to take a rope and double it up. Okay, do you have something like this? And this length is dependent upon how big your loops you want to have. But just like a regular bowline, we're going to make a round turn, just like this. Okay. And just like a regular bowline, we're going to treat these two strands, this loop, as one strand. We're going to come through, but instead of going behind and back down through, we're going to take this, stick our hand through it, and grab our two loops right here. Okay. And then we're going to drop this down, and then we're going to dress our knot, which is basically just pulling until they grab. Okay. And this is a bowline on a bight. Now these loops are small, but we can make them bigger. We can make them whatever size we need to. Okay, so let's do that again. Let's make them bigger this time. Okay, this time we're gonna make some bigger loops. Okay, same principle. We're gonna make our loop. We're going to treat this as one. We're gonna come through from the bottom. We're not gonna go around. We're just gonna hold it just like this, stick our hand through there, and grab these two strands. Invert it, and put this back over to where you have this, okay? And as we dress it, and we can turn it back over, we're gonna have two equal loops, okay? So this is what you're gonna have. Okay, now what do you do with this particular knot? Well, since you have two fixed loops, if you were pulling on this rope, if you had two people pulling, they could both have a handle to pull on it. That's one option. But another option is to make a rescue harness out of it. Okay, so imagine that these two loops here are leg loops. Okay, so I take these and I step into it, and that's going to form the base of my seat harness. Okay, and if we do that, we want to make sure that the tail is at least a couple feet long. Okay, so if you do want to make a harness out of this, make sure the loops are big enough that your legs can fit inside of them, and make sure that you have a tail a couple feet long. Okay. And if you think that's too small for your legs, easily adjustable. Just give yourself a little bit of slack right there and just cinch your back down. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna shut it off here, then I'm gonna show you how to make a rescue harness out of this. Okay, so this is a 8 on a bight. Stick around and I'll show you how to put it to work. Okay, so now we've taken those two loops we created and we've stepped into them. Okay, so those two loops with the bowline on a bight are now on our legs. Okay, so we have two strands coming off of this. One is a short or a long tail coming off. There's going to be a reason for this in a minute. And the other one is the rest of your rope. This is your standing part. Okay, now we need to have a way to tie this around our chest to have more than one way of attaching ourselves. Otherwise, we can easily fall out of this harness as it stands. Okay, so basically what you want to do is you want to form a bight. Here's your standing part. Okay, twist it to where it's behind the vertical. Okay, make this thing really big, this big loop you just created. Put it over your head, underneath your arms, and hold on to it so you don't drop it. And what you've done now is you've made a half hitch. Okay, now this will work. However, there's a couple downsides. One is the more pressure you put on this rope, the tighter this becomes, and you won't be able to breathe at some point. Okay, it's going to constrict your breathing dramatically. The other is if this becomes loose, it could easily fall down below your waist. Okay, so how do we fix that? We just basically bring it where you want it. Okay, you want to put this strand here parallel to this strand. Okay, you want to form a bight. You want to put it over the top and down through. Okay, so that's what you have at this point. Okay, and you want to find your long tail you have. You want to put it through, and then take your standing part and pull and dress this. Basically, it's a snap bowline, okay? So you have this situation right here, okay? Now, if I let this go, this is gonna stay. It's not going anywhere. And it's not gonna further constrict my chest, okay? So I can hang off this rope and I'm good to go, okay? Now, I will say this is a last ditch harness. This is very uncomfortable, but you're not going to fall out of it. You can lower yourself or lower another person without them falling out, okay? But it's going to be a very uncomfortable ride. Okay, I hope this helps, and thought I'd show you at least one good way of using a bowline on a Bight, which is kind of clever. All right, I'll see you on the next one.